It was hard to be accepted or want to make friends when you're just like, when things are different about you. When you have a proper way of speaking than other people do who look like you. So it becomes, I wasn't caring about like the school, because to me the school came with everything else, you know what I mean? Which is like the bullying or the not being accepted by your peers. Imitating the art, for sure. I was definitely just into just writing raps and wanting things to just like sounding hard based off of what I was listening to.
How did you describe yourself as a kid?
Class clown-ish.
Oh, okay.
A lot of this stuff kind of stemmed from well, in elementary school, you know, it was different because we're all kids. We all want to have fun and just do different things. It wasn't until I got to the 6th grade that I started realizing that it was hard to be accepted or want to make friends when you're just like, when things are different about you. When you have a proper way of speaking than other people do who look like you. So it becomes like, it became a cultural thing that people get misconstrued because of how I talk or how I acted with certain things or the music that I was listening to. Even though I listened to everything, I was listening to, you know, Jay-Z the same way I was listening to Gwen Stefani, the same way I was listening to Korn at that time, or just whatever was on TRL. You know what I mean? So like, it was just, but you were viewed different because of that. So like,
Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Walnut. I lived in Diamond Bar for a few years, but I grew up in Pomona.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of most of your childhood is around that type of culture.
Yeah.
The Pomona culture.
Yeah, very much. From the 6th grade on, everything's been Pomona. So
you mentioned that like some of the things in your childhood that you spent a lot of time doing was like football.
Yeah.
You also kind of hanging out with friends. This is a very different time for some of you guys don't know, but we would actually be outside. I know it sounds
yes,
crazy.
Like bro, doing stuff
wild, but
yeah.
Yeah. So like, to the streetlights came on, or what? Did you have like close friends?
Yeah, we all lived together. There was people that I thought were close friends at the time. We all lived together. We were just doing random wild stuff. And then my brother, because you know we were the same age, we just all hung around the same like kids. You know what I mean? Especially around like the 6th grade, going into middle school and high school.
Oh, yo,
yeah.
Say less.
Yeah.
Any key friends during that time?
Not during my childhood, more so like high school.
Okay. So high school was when you kind of found the kind of like the main group of friends?
I found a group of friends that accepted me for who I was. And so like, but see, at the time, because I didn't feel like I was being accepted by my culture. I was adapting into a different culture with friends who I played basketball with, like at the park in Diamond Bar, and it's called Pantera. We would go and play basketball and just hang out. And so my best friend, Matt, who I still talk to this day, I met him I knew about him in junior high, but we became friends in high school. And then my other friend, Donnie, and RJ, we would all hang out and go play at Pantera Park and like just like hang out and just do stuff together. So this is like before I was rapping, like just from high school to like early 20s, mid 20s, just like I was hanging out with them.
That was like your tribe in a sense.
Yeah, at that time, yes.
You also kind of explained a little bit of this acceptance that you were not able to kind of gain from the people around you.
Yeah.
What do you kind of feel about that kind of specific space? What was the children's societal norm that they were trying to get you a part of versus who you were becoming on your own in your own ecosystem? What was the difference?
Well, I mean, high school is just a phase you find out afterwards, but at the time, with school and everything, like if you weren't varsity into something, or if you weren't,
And this is
like,
as early as 6th grade, or
oh yeah, well even with 6th grade, like if you weren't good at a certain sport, like even going into middle school, if you weren't good at playing basketball or football or any of that stuff, like going into that, then most likely you weren't doing that in middle school and high school. So like even with track, like I used to run track in elementary school. My brother Ron used to work at Mount Sac, so he wanted me to do track. He wanted me to do track. My mom ran track, I found out.
yo,
So yeah, I think
it's in
she
the
ran.
genes.
Yeah, she ran a 200 meter. So I was just like, they wanted me to do track, but I was slacking and I was caring too much about wanting to like be a class clown and like I wasn't caring about like the school, because to me the school came with everything else, you know what I mean, which is like the bullying or the not being accepted by your peers, or just like the rejection that you get when your crush is like not wanting to be any part of like, you know what I mean, like, so certain things were just like it came with that, so it just led me to not like caring about school at all, you know what I mean, like.
But one of the things I find is so interesting is that you seem so well rounded. You're doing basketball, you have football, you hang out with friends, right? You got some like comedian in you, you know.
I wasn't doing varsity. It wasn't like that stuff. Like I was hanging out and I was doing that for fun. But when it came to like being on the teams, I was not. Like I played JV basketball. I wasn't like out here, you know what I mean, doing that. Like it took like me getting out of high school to kind of just be more of myself and like feel like that. Without like,
oh, so you felt like you were just always trying to keep up with the Joneses as you were going through school.
I just felt like a outsider, yeah, just like an outsider that was just like there was no way in at the time, and so it was just kind of like whatever, you know. But at the same time, like it was good experiences too. Like, you know, my prom was lit. I didn't go with anybody, but I ended up like having somebody's date to dance with for like half the night, and that was dope. Like, you know what I mean, like. Even with the basketball team, like hanging out with them when I was like a junior, like, and seeing the varsity basketball team and like just being able to like hang out with them and play with them during the summer, and them seeing like, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of game, but I knew something. I was able to jump, like, you know what I mean? I can get a rebound, you know, I can make the right pass. I was playing good defense, so like they got to see that amongst everything else. So like, there were some good spots in it too. It wasn't all just like dark and depressing, you know.
No, I definitely don't want to.
Oh, but no. But I mean, like,
no. But yeah. I'm curious here though.
Yeah.
Because you're mentioning that like you able to find like who you were, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just maybe if you can kind of paint the picture of like, not that what you were kind of at school.
Yeah.
But at home, what were you like really into? What type of things did you like to do? Even hanging out with friends, but like things that like. That you felt like made you unique. Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So outside of the music, so when I was at home, we would watch a lot of sports. Because we were all living like in one spot. So me, my brothers, we were into football. We would watch football, but then we would also play video games a lot.
Okay.
So, my brother, Ron. At the time, when I'm in high school, he brings in this other person who got kicked out of his house because he got into an argument with his mom. He didn't have the best relationship with them. His name is Alfred, and he got invited into our family. So ever since then, he became a brother of ours, and so he lived at the house. So when he lived at the house and like him and Ron were having, you know, they had a great time. So like it was a whole lot of fun because it was just like we just get to play, you know, video games. He had a Super Nintendo. Hey. So we play like, you know, Tecmo basketball. We had seasons together. We kept stats and just like we play wrestling. We had these fake belts that we kept with us, and we play like WrestleMania.
Love it.
You know what I mean? So like we were just having a good time, and like that's what I enjoyed about being at the house. And like, yeah, we got in trouble and we all did stupid stuff to each other, but like that was like the most fun as far as like all of us being in one house and being able to do the same things or being able to watch sports together. You know, everybody except for Ron is a Laker fan. So like being able to, you know, watch the finals together and have a good time and just like, you know, go to the parade, you know, like just little things. Like that's what I enjoyed most about like my teens going into, you know, now.
You know, you kind of also have these you said these key players in your life, especially your family.
Yeah.
It seems like immediate family.
Yeah.
Was there any like cousins that you hung out with, or was it mostly just kind of you, your brothers, your sister?
Yeah.
Was it kind of just that dynamic?
I didn't hang out with my cousins a whole lot. I did find out that a cousin of mine named Ashley, I found out we were cousins like in high school, and so and then like we lived around the same area.
Oh wow,
so that was cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we didn't really hang out. If anything, it was just more so my immediate family. Like
sure,
like even when I was going through my own situations and just like not just struggling to find myself. I remember my sister, who's very just like she's very caring. She's very just like you know thoughtful. She's very thoughtful and she's very creative. She used to sing in high school.
Oh.
Yeah, like talent show, Destiny's Child, like you know what I mean, like the
Love
whole
it.
thing. So yeah, she was a singer, or at least I thought that she sounded good singing. She was really dope. But what she would do was she had left Post-it notes in my room one time, just a bunch of Post-it notes all over my room, just like of affirmations and just like different just like pick me up messages and stuff. And so like I never forgot that. I left it in my room for like as long as possible, you know what I mean? And it was just as like that's why I enjoy being around my family, you know what I mean? So like it was just like it took me away from everything.
What age were you then?
At the time I believe I was like 15, 16 or so.
And so she kind of saw the pressure of the kind of trying to be accepted, right?
Yeah, and just like just also just the personal things that like I was dealing with at the time. It was a lot of just like family situations where things slowly started to like just become like we need to get out and live on, like we need to venture out or they need to venture out, like from my older brothers to my sister, like they all couldn't stay together, you know what I mean?
Oh, so okay. So then what was your outlet? What was kind of like the kind of like you felt like you were able to really just be you know?
Well, let's just listening to music, honestly, because like it was just a way for me to be able to release listening to music at the time. I was writing on and off whenever I felt inspired to, but it was never anything that like I felt serious about pursuing. But yeah, music was something that really helped throughout that time, because then I was old enough to get CDs, so I was just collecting a bunch of like, you know, Little Brother CDs.
Whoa.
You know, Erykah Badu, The Roots, like just different, you know what I mean, like
Right.
hip hop CDs, because my brothers they let me borrow them, but then I was stealing them too. So after a while, they were just like, you know, not trusting me with anything, which I understand. But yeah, so
there was something about music that was really helpful throughout
yes.
your journey. You mentioned like listening to music early.
Mhm.
Like this has like been a passion of yours for a cool minute, kind of going even from your early years into your like middle school and high school time. You also mentioned that one of the things that you did really well was you had a really good song palette. Did that come from like your mom? Did it come from you mentioned your sister would sing? Where did that kind of the palette of like listening to different things? Was it from friends?
It was my sister and my brothers. Alfred and Ron. They when I was it was cool because like when I was a kid, I remember like always being into hip hop. One of the first songs that got me into it was "If I Ruled the World" with Lauryn Hill and Nas. You know, so like, and then also Biggie and 112. Only You.
Yeah,
that used to be my song. So yeah, like just growing up and always being into it. But then my mom was really conservative. She doesn't like cursing. We always listened to the radio. But my brothers, they always had the explicit, you know what I mean, CDs. So like getting to listen to that in the car with them, and then eventually like getting my own like stereo speaker that I could be able to take with me, and then like CD player at the time, and just listening to just different music. It was perfect. It was like nobody can tell me anything because it's just like I was able to listen to what I wanted to.
Music was almost freedom for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
well, you also mentioned that your brothers would help kind of with that dynamic as well. You said Javon, right? Did I get his name right?
Yeah.
Were you guys able to connect on music as well? You come from the same age. I'm curious if that's like a dynamic that you guys can share.
No, we actually did not. Even now, like right now, like none of us listen to the same music. Like at all. Like not at all. Not at all. Like it's crazy. Like we all liked listening to different things. My brother Javon, we did kind of like listening to the same things, but then the more we got into LimeWire, right at the time when I was popping. So when we had LimeWire, we were all just downloading our own thing and just listening to different music, and you know, so that's where it started becoming more like just different as far as what we all listened to. Once we started being able to collect our own music.
You're going down this kind of music journey. You also mentioned that like you would do some writing as well. Yeah. Did you ever get really explore that? I know your mother wasn't too excited about the kind of the world.
No, but I wasn't at the time. But one thing that I did find out through Facebook was that my father used to rap. And then my uncle, also his brother, was like a producer, engineer, or whatever, and they on his side had their little rap group, or not little, because at the time it meant a lot to them. So they had their rap group. They were doing their thing. Of course, they had some differences between like siblings, as you know, most families would. But then so I found out this whole time. I was like, yo, this makes plenty of sense, like why I'm into music and why like. So I was writing a lot to like what was inspiring me, like Jay-Z at the time, and just different things. But it wasn't anything that I thought like, oh, I can see myself doing this, because at the time me and my father didn't have the best relationship, and I didn't know that he was doing any of that. So like it never dawned on me to be like, oh yeah, you should do rap more.
Oh yeah. Facebook didn't come out much later. Yeah.
So
for sure. You also kind of explained as you were going through, and I'm trying to just kind of play the catch up here world. Your kind of relationship, whether it be with love or that kind of dynamic, you know. Did you ever get to explore that? I know one of the things that's really cool about writing is a lot of rappers start off with a lot of rappers start off with it did. It was like, what is that? It's like I don't know, it's like a what do you call, like a dragon coming to my face or something like that? Anyway, so one of the things I'm really curious about is that writing.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that a lot of people start off with is poems.
Yes.
You know, poetry, because rhythm and poetry. You can have that sense. Like kind of especially love in that aspect. But was it more of you just trying to imitate the art, or were you trying to imitate your life when you were writing?
Imitating the art for sure. I was definitely just into just writing raps and wanting things to just like sounding hard based off of what I was listening to. It didn't become until I started diving into rapping is where like started being more intentional about what I was writing about, whether it was poems or songs about love. But no, I was always, that's why Johnny Bars, that's why Johnny Bars exists. Because it was always about the raps. You know what I mean? So it slowly started becoming more into like once I started getting into rapping, it became more of like me telling like my story and a part of who I am, and like, you know what I mean, having it become a part of me as opposed to like me just like doing this for a trend or doing this because like
you wanted to do things more because it felt right and sounded right at some point. Is that when you decided to your name Johnny Bars, or was it much earlier than that?
It was at that time. Well, this is fast forward, like I'm in my mid-20s now.
Oh, so that's when you okay.
Yeah.
So this was really well down the path.
Yes.
Before you got into this world.
Yes.
So okay. So then, before we get there,
yes.
You're going from middle school up until high school.
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned that kind of like you transitioned to Pomona around 6th grade. So now you're in a whole different friend group community.
Yes.
Right. You have your homies that you hanged out with. Right. Donnie. You have Matt.
Yeah.
I think you said Ryan. What was it?
RJ.
Excuse me.
Yeah. There was Donnie's brother. It was Ryan too. So that's good.
Get excited.
He has
right?
a brother.
That was fate, right? I pulled that out. I pulled that out of the soul here. Okay. And I'm one of the things that it's the battles, it's the rap, it's the kind of sitting at the basketball court, you're playing with your friends, and being able to kind of really experiment. What did you guys get? Was it just really kind of the sports aspect was bringing you guys closer, or was it more of like other things that brought you? Was it girls? Was it like what was kind of?
It was definitely other things. There was sports. Well, basketball was one thing because like we all were Laker fans. We all love Kobe, but we also like would party a lot. And that's where, like, so that's where, like, from, like, my teens, like, going out of high school into, like, mid-20s, where it was just, like, I was constantly hanging out with them. We were going out to Vegas. You know what I mean? Like...
Oh, you're living your best life.
You're just getting lit. Like, it was, and we worked together at the same time. So like,
wait, all three of you guys?
All three of us.
Oh,
yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah, we worked together.
Hey, so boss, let's begin to take the day off, okay? Just wait.
Let me go ahead.
It's like all three of you.
Like,
wait,
please. Like, and it was cool because
that's dope. Like
we would fill in for each other. So it was just like if somebody was hungover from the night before, and I knew that because I was dropping that person off, then I had to make sure to bring my best work. You know what I mean? So like, but no, it was a great experience because like. They ended up becoming close friends. We all had experiences with like relationships. I wasn't in a relationship, so they would come to me and talk to me about their relationship.
You're like the modern day counselor over here.
You know what I mean? So like just in
Dr. Phil here.
Always. So it was crazy. It was a lot of fun because
you guys kind of grew up together.
Yeah.
in a different sense. But yeah
absolutely. Sure.